Don't disagree with that. Long pass, Bellini into the offensive zone, makes a move and scores. Steve Bellini was just standing there at the offensive blue line. That's a defenseman.
Really good move for a defenseman on a breakaway.
From BLC Studios in Mankato, Minnesota, this is the Maverick Hockey Live Podcast, presented by Dunkin. With your host, Shane Frederick.
This is the Maverick Hockey Live Podcast, presented by Dunkin. My name is Shane Frederick. I'm the host, and today joining me is Minnesota State sophomore defenseman Steven Bellini. Hi, Steven. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Thanks for being here today. We are taping this at the beginnings of the snowstorm coming into Minnesota. Nothing you haven't seen before, being from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, right?
No. Thanks for having me.
The Mavericks are coming off a split at Bemidji State, winning 4-1 on Friday night and falling in overtime 2-1 on Saturday. Not a bad weekend, getting 4 points and giving yourselves a little bit of cushion over Michigan Tech, your opponent this coming weekend, with the McNaughton Cup on the line. Overall, can you kind of assess the way you guys played against the Beavers this weekend?
Yeah, I think it all started with that week of practice. You know, we had a really strong week and dialed in, making sure we were clean, getting ready for the weekend. It's always a little hard coming off an off weekend, so you're not sure whether you're going to have a little more rest or you're going to be ready to go or whatnot. So it all started with a good week of practice, and then just the dedication to playing our systems and playing our game to become a successful team on Friday. And, you know, you always wish you can win both, but unfortunately it didn't happen. So, we still played a good game Saturday, but.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Saturday was an interesting game. You scored your first career goal. Congratulations.
Thank you
on that. And we can talk about that in a second. But you scored on a breakaway, and that after that, you as a team, you had several other breakaway opportunities, and just weren't able to get it by the goaltender Matthias Scholl, who played a fantastic game for the Beavers. But yeah, you certainly. I think Coach Hastings said, if you're getting opportunities like that, you can't complain too much. It's just a matter of trying to finish. But sometimes that can be a little frustrating or head scratching when you get that many, those kind of grade A looks, and you end up, going to overtime where anything can happen.
Yeah. We went over the pre-scout during that week, and we found that their D, we can expose them a bit with speed and strength. So you look at a guy like Tass, who had a couple opportunities that second game to try and score. It is, it is frustrating, but I think the biggest key is just trying to stick with it, and eventually the hockey gods will reward you and give you one there.
You mentioned Tass. That's Simon Tassi, the freshman, who a lot of eyes are on since he entered the lineup, and it seems like it's just a matter of time if he gets that first goal, get that off his back. I think he's going to have a little bit more patience and poise, and probably put a lot more of those in, right? Yeah,
also, if he gets the first one, adds a lot of confidence to his game. Not that he's not playing with it, but, right. Just gives him an extra boost. And he's had the chances here. He's eventually one's going to go in. He's going to be rewarded for it.
I was funny, I watched both games on Flow Hockey, and, there's obviously the hometown announcers. So listening to the Bemidji State announcers, they were kind of flabbergasted on Friday when Jake Livingstone scored essentially a breakaway or partial breakaway goal, and then Saturday you score your goal, partial break or a full breakaway. And I got to say, Jake Livingstone being a defenseman, you being a defenseman, you don't see defensemen getting breakaway goals too often. Probably not how you would have necessarily drawn up your first career college goal.
No, I never even think I've had a breakaway in my life, and definitely not how I picture the first one. But like I said, we went over some pre-scout, and on the power play, we figured that pass might work once or twice during the week, but after that, they cut it off. So it'd be an unbelievable pass by Carroll to give it to me there.
Yeah, Andy Carroll putting it right up the middle there, and certainly when you, I would guess just kind of watching things that the way you develop your power play and your breakout, and the way you go through the neutral zone there, they're probably expecting you to play one way, and that probably opened things up in the middle. And when you practice that, were you usually the guy on that?
Yeah. I'm always stretch guy, but not even about me, just our power play breakout in general. It's not going to be perfect every time, so we always got to be expected for the unexpected and be ready to use different options, not just the stretch guy or the drop. Just kind of sometimes beating man up the ice and going and taking advantage of the little odd man rush that you have there.
Well, great. It was a great play and a great move, and certainly got you guys on the board. And you probably, tied the game. Probably thought you'd probably kind of take that and roll as you did on Friday. And as you mentioned, a lot of great chances, but just weren't able to close that out. But still a 4-point weekend. Obviously, only 2 losses since the beginning of 2023. So really have had a strong second half, and really. Do you feel pretty good going into the final weekend of the season with where your game's at right now?
Yeah, we feel really prepared. Obviously, it just depends on our dailies at practice. That's what's going to start to lead us there, making sure we're good every day, taking advantage of the little details and not taking a step backwards, but taking a step forward. And then just going to play. I mean, Friday and Saturday, there's going to be a lot of distractions with the cup and senior weekend and all that, but I think we just got to push the distractions aside and just focus on our game and play 60 minutes of hockey.
For you this season, I think you've played in all 32 games after playing 8 games last year. What's that been like for you to kind of take that big step, in the lineup, knowing going into the season that there were going to be opportunities and spots to fill with players who have left? What did you do to kind of prepare yourself to kind of be an everyday player coming off of last year?
Yeah, I think it starts with last year. Obviously, not being in the lineup a lot, I kind of looked up to the guys that are playing and kind of saw the style of hockey college hockey has to offer. I just worked on my dailies every day, trying to get better and just improve, obviously. And then I just been trying to play with confidence, just make a bad play, you just move on. Make a good play, you just keep going. Like, no highs, no lows, just stay right in the middle and try and just be as influential to the game that you can be.
Sure. And you have 8 points. You're +8. A very solid season for someone who's kind of jumped in after really learning most of the ropes last year during practice, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So far I've been pretty solid. What's the word I'm looking for? Pretty confident and pretty. I like the way I've been playing and stuff.
Sure.
So, having said that, I'm not done though. I think there's a lot of work I have to work on to be not even a better player, but a better teammate.
What's it been like being part of this program? For almost 2 full seasons now.
It's been unbelievable. I'd say the best thing is probably the chemistry you get with the guys every day. You see them every day. They're not even friends at that point. They become brothers with you. So sure. I think maintaining chemistry within the locker room is one of the most important aspects.
You're from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and talk a little bit about growing up. Obviously, a big hockey community, hockey town. There's some legendary players that have come out of that area. What was that like growing up, kind of knowing that history and everything that goes along with growing up in that area?
Yeah, it's a huge hockey town. I'd say if you're going to play a sport there, that'd be it. And my dad, he played hockey for many years too, so I kind of looked up to him when he was playing. I mean, he wasn't playing super long, but I looked up to him. He got me into hockey. He's the one who's been inspiring me to play ever since, and I've been just trying to do the best I can do at this point.
What level did he play at? How high did he get?
I believe he just played until junior, and then he was done. But yeah, like I said, he influenced me, and I've been loving the journey I've had ever since.
Did you pay much attention to the hockey team across the border there in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, Lake Superior State? I know that's you get up there to play the Lakers, and you're pretty much right in your old backyard.
Yeah, I've only been to a couple games growing up. Me and my dad have season tickets for the Sioux Greyhounds in the OHL, so that's mostly who I've been looking up to and watching when I was growing up in the past. Yeah,
there's the real difference between college hockey and the major junior in Canada on the other side, and there's been that long. I don't know if it's a debate or discussion over the years about the better development league, and but certainly a lot of players from Canada have played college hockey, and a lot of Americans have gone and played in the CHL.
Yeah, exactly. It's two different styles of hockey, and whatever one works better for you, I feel like people go to. So,
was there a point for you where you knew that college hockey was the route you were going to try to take and go forward?
Yeah, I actually I'd never been drafted in the OHL, so I obviously growing up you inspire to those guys and you want to be one of those guys. But at one point, I think that wasn't my path to take, so I went another way. And obviously here now playing NCAA hockey, which I find personally for me was the better path for my development.
So you've played a couple years of junior hockey. You went to the BC League and played in Coquitlam, and then ended up in Tri-City in the USHL. What was that like, that journey? I mean, you're going kind of all over the continent at that point.
Yeah. It actually started. I played 2 years of junior back home, which developed really good for me. I thought I had 2 really strong years, which led me out to the BC, where I believe I had another strong year, and that's when I got the commitment from Minnesota State. And then the following year, I went out to Kearney, Nebraska in the USHL and tried to develop my game there and get ready for college. And then it brings me to where I am today.
Where'd you feel like you developed the most in those areas in junior hockey?
I would say every team. I've always tried to take a step forward and not a step back. So I think every team had a little bit to offer to help me to become a better player. Along with that, good coaches, and got to meet some great teammates, which helped me along the way.
Did you feel like how would you describe your game? How would you describe what kind of player you are and kind of hope to be?
Yeah, I like to be a good defenseman that break the puck out. Smooth skater. I take a lot of pride in my passing and making sure it's on the tape and flat and helps the other guy, sets the other guy up for success that I give it to. So I just try and do that and not try to complicate the game, just trying to be as simple as I could be.
Do you you kind of look at your teammates right now and maybe we can talk a little bit about this, but this is senior weekend coming up, as you mentioned, and there are quite a few guys. Are there guys that you look up to on this team that you're especially going to miss as or that you want to hope that you can help extend their career as long as possible in college?
Yeah, I kind of look up to everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everyone brings a different aspect to the table, whether that's a strength or a weakness. So I kind of just take strengths from every player, kind of try and put them in my game and see if it works, see if it doesn't, and if it doesn't, adjust from there, and if it does, just try to flow with it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but was your first game last year as a freshman, was that up at Lake Superior State?
It was, yes.
Yeah. What was that like to kind of go up to that area? Did you have some family and friends who were able to get over there and get across the border and see you play?
Yeah, it was emotional. Obviously, playing in your first NCAA game, you're a little scared, you're nervous, you're kind of second guessing yourself. But yeah, I had some family there. It was pretty fun to play in front of them and them seeing me to play because they couldn't see me the past couple of years because of COVID.
Right.
So it's good for them to watch me, and I was excited and a lot of emotions. But at the end of the day, it was a good first game, and thought I was ready to play NCAA hockey.
Yeah, that was an interesting weekend. I think it was the only game Dryden McKay didn't start, right?
Yeah.
I think so. More pressure on you as a defenseman, right? Suddenly you don't have number 29 back there, and you're getting thrown into the fire and the pressure of the family and friends nearby, and that's quite an experience.
Yeah. Rancier did a great job, though. He only let one in, and it was a breakaway. So, I mean, not much he could have really done on it, but he played great. I thought the team played great, and unfortunately, we couldn't grab that first win, but it's what happens sometimes in hockey.
It's interesting. You just mentioned Keenan Rancier, and he's played every game in 2023 for you guys, and has really kind of stabilized that goalie position. And a lot of these podcasts in the first half of the year was me talking to some of your teammates just about the difference of not having Dryden back there and watching the goaltenders try to develop and try to find their form, and whether it's Keenan or whether it's Alex, and you're really seeing Keenan, as a defenseman, you get a really close hand look at how he's doing. But, how have you seen him kind of develop his game and kind of solidify that spot to help you guys out?
Yeah, it all started with his dailies. He gained a lot of confidence in practice, and I think that's one thing that kind of led him to where he is right now. And he just keeps playing with confidence, which as a defenseman, you get a good feeling when
Sure.
your goalie's playing hot and playing good. So yeah, he's been great, and I would love to see him keep going forward. He's been playing great.
Going into this weekend, and you mentioned a few things going on with a championship on the line, and probably some big crowds depending on how the weather shakes out. We'll see if Tech gets here, right, and gets here in time. What are you guys hoping for this weekend? What are you looking at as far as like what your game needs to be? Trying to get back home and where things have been a little up and down in terms of your play at home recently, and trying to find a way not only to get a win or two, but certainly a championship.
Yeah, I don't think we're too worried on the cup and the senior night and thing. Like I said, I think we got to push all distractions aside and just focus on playing our hockey game, which when we work hard and we dictate the game, we're pretty successful. So, like I said, just kind of push away the distractions and manage the highs and lows.
You played Tech, I think back in November. It was up there, and what do you know about them? What kind of is your expectations about what they have coming into town?
Yeah, they're a great team. They forecheck hard. They got good systems. They got good special teams. So I think we're not really obviously we're focused on them, but I think we got to mostly focus on our play and making sure we dictate the game, which will hopefully make us successful this weekend.
Good starts too, right? Especially at home, get the crowd into it and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's one thing Coach always harps on, the first 5 minutes. So, like I said, just push distractions aside and kind of focus on our game. What's
the best way to kind of get that good start? I mean, it doesn't always have to involve scoring a goal. That certainly helps as far as getting the crowd into the game. But what are you guys looking for in the first 5 minutes of a game to try to consider it a positive and that good start you're looking for?
Yeah, we want to put pucks behind their D and pressure them hard. We want to make sure we're getting bumps in so they're not getting off too easy. Kind of make it hard for them right away. We don't want to play soft and let them think that this is going to be an easy game. We want to make sure it's hard for them, not just the first 5 minutes, but the whole game.
Sure. Just try to play that heavy game that you guys are certainly capable of, and that teams know. I think that's one thing. I think it might have been even Tom Saratori, the Bemidji State coach, talking in previous year about the Mavericks and team that was scoring a lot and but just kind of reminding people like how heavy a system that you guys play, that it's not just about, you can score and you can have a lot of skill, but playing that kind of heavy game that you bring up and getting your bumps in and playing behind their D and it seems like that sort of way of playing can certainly it sometimes I think is not necessarily the label that gets put on Minnesota State, but if you watch closely, it can be.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can talk systems all day, X's and O's, whatever. But at the end of the day, we got to go out there and we got to work hard and we got to be willing to sacrifice our body, whether that's getting a check in or blocking a shot or getting pucks deep or playing selfless for each other.
Blocking shots. Love to talk to especially the defensemen about that. You've got a few this year, right? What is that something that's has been new to you? Is that something that was expected in junior hockey at all, or is that something that you coming into Minnesota State and you realize pretty quickly that you kind of have to do that to stay in the lineup?
I think at every level, you got to be willing to sacrifice your body, whether that's in a 7-0 game or a 3-2 game. I don't think there's a difference between that. You just got to sacrifice your body and make sure you're keeping the puck out of your net as often as possible.
Have you taken any that have been particularly painful?
Oh, sometimes, but it's at the end of the day, teammates are lifting you up and it feels a lot better. You block it other than missing it.
Yeah, it's sometimes you don't hear it. I think I noticed it really during the COVID season when there were very few people in the stands, so you could hear what was happening on the bench and just the way the team reacts to a block shot. I pay more attention to it now than I did pre-COVID, just because it was so striking to hear the entire bench react the way it does to someone blocking a shot, especially late in the game or during a power play or during penalty kill. Excuse me. It's just kind of cool to see those little nuances of the game that really lift up a team.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, a blocking shot's one thing, but it also brings a lot of energy and kind of shows your teammates that you're selfless and you're kind of doing whatever it takes to win. And, you kind of doing it for the guy beside you because he'll do it for you as well. So,
let me just ask you real quick about Minnesota State. What do you think of Mankato, and what do you think of the university? What's that experience been like so far?
Yeah, I love it here. It kind of reminds me a little bit of back home.
Okay,
whether that's weather-wise or town size or population, it kind of gives me the back home feeling.
Sure.
Being here, so I love it. I love my time ever since I've been here.
What are you going into with school?
I'm currently in finance right now.
Okay. All right. And that's going all right?
Going pretty good, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good.
It's pretty good. We'll see how the future holds.
Well, speaking of the future, the Mavericks will take on Michigan Tech at the Mayo Clinic Health System Event Center this weekend. Should be a great series between two very good hockey teams. Both are up there in the pairwise rankings, which is important going forward in the NCAA, and first place in the WCHA is on the line in the McNaughton Cup Championship. The Mavericks are going for their 6th in a row, and they are currently holding a 2-point lead over the Huskies for first place. The schedule makers could not have drawn it up any better or for you guys, although I'm sure you would have loved to have been in a little bit more comfortable position, right?
Yeah, of course. You always want to be as comfy as possible, but unfortunately we're not, and we just got to go day by day and try and get the job done this weekend.
Well, it should be fun. Steven Bellini, thank you so much for joining the podcast. I'm Shane Frederick. This has been the Maverick Hockey Live podcast presented by Dunkin. We'll see you next time.